Hello everyone. As we know, the media, majority of media in this country, particularly RT News Talk and things like that, the enemy of the really are the enemy of the Irish people. They don't represent us. They really don't represent us. They represent what they want to see. In other words, whatever the government tells them, because they are government funded. Let's be honest, and no such thing as independence. RT is funded by the taxpayer, but the government gives them €10 million a year. Same as News Talk, they all rely on government funding. It's like government state, like again, RT is the government state control media, let's be totally honest with. But there was an interesting thing, and again, poor Leo the Link, which he should be in prison. He should be gone, he shouldn't be in office, he's still in office. Even though it's clear as day he broke the law. He broke the law in sharing a government document which he had no authorisation to share with his friend in a private forum. And again, he done it, and he's still there. He's still tarnished. He's going to be Taoiseach again. And he's still there. Not a question. You think the media would literally lose the plot? Like, again, just take, for example, Donald Trump said boo to anybody. The RT and everything completely lost their shit and went mad. Literally, full on, literally going to slaughter with Donald Trump's name everywhere. And literally, if he said hello to somebody, they literally spin it to make him look bad. And RT, not a peep, like Leo the Link. He really should be in prison. Like, to be totally honest, he should be not in office. But yeah, so and the Web Summit in Lisbon, Paddy Cosgrove brought Leo the Link's attention to the whole world. And everybody in the world was probably like, what a scumbag we have as used to be Taoiseach, used to be head of this country, and he's still there, and he's still tarnished. He's still there, and again, this is the thing to be asking: what kind of country do we live in Ireland? What kind of people are we to allow a politician who obviously broke the law? And again, it's very obvious to see, and he even said himself on the Dáil record that he didn't know how many times he shared documents, sensitive documents with people. He didn't know how many, and again, the media. Just pure quietness. But you might be like, why did the media lose the plot? Because they've been losing the plot 2 times this week. The Irish media completely lost the walkers. Like, literally, they didn't ask any questions. Just a pure attack. Soon as somebody questions, they go attack. Shut them down, shut them up, fighting them, call them fascists, call them far right, call them extremists, call them this, call them that, call them the other. We don't want any opposition. Nobody should be allowed to raise a valid point. Nobody should be allowed to ask any questions. It is a totalitarian state dictatorship. The media are really, they're just the proper, they're really, I would use the blue shirts of the government. Really, just like what you would call them is the little minions. They go around just defending their bosses. And again, you might be like, what happened? So they literally lost their mind. The whole media literally lost their mind. Paddy Cosgrove was literally called a fascist, in one of the meetings. Even though it was perfectly reasonable what he said. He basically just explained that Leo is a cunt. He shouldn't be there. He shouldn't be in office. He shouldn't be there, and that's a fair enough point. Again, he's a free citizen. He's entitled to say, even in anything, he's entitled to say, because it is true. He's not spreading lies or anything. He's telling the truth that Leo did share a government document, and he's only telling the truth. But the media literally lost the plot. The Web Summit, so Sunday Independent, take for example, the Web Summit CEO Cosgrove ran the toxic campaign. What is toxic? What is toxic about that? Just saying what it is. Again, exposing corruption, exposing favouritism in the government. And to the whole world. Again, that's the only way you can do it. It's just pure embarrassment to the Irish government. Because again, it's pure embarrassment. It was something the red-faced system. I'm sure Leo was a bit red-faced. That the whole world actually probably just looking at that and saying, what kind of a people are we that vote these people in? Because again, we have nobody to blame but ourselves, because we voted them in, and he's there because we allowed him to be there, and he should be there. We shouldn't allow him to be there. Like, if that was in a private wall, take for example, you own a shop or something like that, nobody would have him if you're sharing sets of documents, say their tax receipts or whatever, sharing them with random people. No business. I can tell you, for example, if I owned a business or something like that, and the sets of business relate to my business, and he shared them around, he gave them to the media or whatever, I wouldn't be too impressed, to be totally honest, and I would get rid of him. But yeah, so that's basically very, very toxic in asking a question and authority. And again, that's what the media is all about. You have the freedom to do. But again, the words the media using toxic was not toxic. It was just saying the truth. And the media in this country can't swallow that pill. They can't swallow the pill to say, that's not. But like, it's just ridiculous. It's honestly ridiculous. Like, they lost the plot. Like, literally, they lost the plot, the whole media. And then again, in this country, they literally lost the plot, because Stephen Donnelly came out, and the Jonah.ie was defending them like fuck. Like, the Jonah.ie, I don't know who was them lunatics, but look at talking absolute rubbish. Again, fellow from Mona Murphy and Dáil Éireann and Stephen Donnelly said it was anti-fax information. She was asking very valid points and calling people anti-fax just because they ask questions. It's something that you question people, question especially authority people, ministers, is very important in a democracy, and Stephen Donnelly needs to understand that. And shouldn't have interrupted and let her say what she had to say, even though it could have been anti-fax or whatever he wants to say, or whatever the media classified it as. It's a genuine question. It's something that her constituents and her is wondering about, and it's not a sin to ask a question. And questions do need to be asked. We'll talk about it later on, but questions do need to be asked, and Stephen Donnelly needs to answer them very quickly. And Stephen Donnelly shouldn't be there either. He hasn't got a clue. But again, calling somebody anti-fax and then the media going on a huge campaign just trying to, I suppose, spoil her name for just asking a simple question, going absolutely fucking mental. And then anybody who questions the media, they just call them anti-fax and disgraceful cunts. And this is the words they're using, like the media literally uses. And there's literally, you think they would be like the media, if they were good media, they'd be like, let's have a debate. These two topics, let's have a debate about it. Let's go on OT and have Pat Cosgrove go on OT and maybe have Leo and have a debate about it. But again, Leo would be probably destroyed. Poor Leo would have his feelings hurt. And the same with OT, they would have their feelings hurt. Because the government might say, oh, we're not going to give you any funding because you didn't defend the government's narrative. You allowed free speech. We couldn't allow that in this country. We can't allow people to stand up and take their freedoms back and demand our politicians and demand our civil servants who we pay to do the right thing and to do the proper thing. But again, they don't want that. They want just a banana republic. It just doesn't make any sense. Like everything in this country just doesn't make sense. There's no logic. There's no reason behind these lunatics in charge. And again, the words are lunatics. Again, half of these journalists are lunatics. Like they don't know anything at all. They don't question anything. Again, they just follow whatever the government say. They're just kind of empowered on the government shoulder. Whatever the government say, they just repeat it. Maybe alter it a small bit to make them look favourable and say, we are questioning the government, but we are asking very simple questions, very watered down questions. We're not asking very, very important questions that the people want to know. The members of the public are thinking about themselves. Particularly in relation to Waterford, people might consider this anti-fax, but how is Waterford nearly the highest vaccination rate in Europe and Ireland? 99.5%. Nearly 100%, and you're saying they have the highest incidence rates in the country of COVID. It doesn't make it, and again, they can't blame the anti-fax because take for example Waterford's population, that's barely 1%. That's barely 1% that's unvaccinated. So what are they? What are they on about? Like, let's be honest here. What is Luke Winnie and the rest of them on about? Like, we have to ask that genuine question: how, if the vaccine prevents people from catching it, whatever they say. How? And again, that's the thing, and the media won't answer that question because it's a very simple thing. 99.5%, the whole Waterford should have nothing at all. There should be no cases at all, and everything should be open to Waterford, no restrictions or nothing like that, if it's that high a vaccination rate. And in Denmark and other countries, they opened up even though there's barely, I think in Denmark, last time I checked, there's nearly 30% of the population is vaccinated. And it's still opened up because people were sick of the government and just said enough is enough of this crack, we have enough of it. And they wouldn't go, and I'm sure the government in Denmark knew they wouldn't get elected next time if they went in the polls. And they'd be destroyed in the polls next time they won. So they probably were like, we probably have to take the side of the people here. But in this country, they're just like, fuck the people. We're just, the media protect us. That's all they say.